We're going to now look at the cat artery, a little road map. This is the heart, and this is the aortic arch that curves towards the back. And this is a ventral view of the cat. And we have a couple of branches, like so. This branch here is the left subclavian artery, and this splits into 3 parts. This here, before the branching occurs, is the brachiocephalic artery. We use red to show that they're all arteries and not veins. So this leads towards the head, and this one is parallel to this one, and we have the 3rd branch that goes out laterally like so. Okay, so this will be the left common carotid. This is the right common carotid. And to give you a point of reference, we have the face. This is a cat. This is our cat. And this travels laterally, and when this branching occurs, this then becomes the, oh, we skipped a part. So after the brachiocephalic branches off to 3 different paths, this portion then becomes the left, or the right subclavian. This is the left subclavian, and this is the right subclavian. It's sort of asymmetric. But from this point on, this segment and this segment will be nearly identical in terms of the names of the different parts of the artery. So after the right subclavian happens, we have this branching. At this point, it's now called the right axillary. This is at the armpit region. And this branch here is the right subscapular. The right subscapular artery, if this were 3D, goes into the page towards the scapula. And as it moves further laterally, there will be additional branching that occurs, and this leads to the arm region. So you have the armpit and leads to the arm region. And when that happens, this then becomes the right brachial artery. And the same thing occurs here. So taking this aorta that travels south, this then will become the descending aorta. And there will be some internal organs in this region, and we'll have a cutoff here and call this the diaphragm. Right below the diaphragm, you have the celiac trunk, and then there will be 3 branching that occurs. 1, 2, 3. So hepatic we'll ignore. We'll say this is attached to the stomach. Then this right here would be the gastric artery. And this right here we'll say it's attached to the spleen, and this will then be the splenic artery. And over here, not too far away from the celiac, you have another branch that comes out here, and this will be the superior mesenteric artery. And on the other side, there will be 2 branches that occur, and one right here, this is the kidney. The one above it is called the adrenolumbar artery, and this one that's attached to the kidney is the renal artery. And if this is a girl cat, there's one that travels, branches off of the renal towards the ovary, which is the ovarian for a girl. And if it's a boy, it goes towards the descending aorta, and this will then be the spermatic artery. Together, the general term used is the gonadal arteries, gonads. As it travels a little bit farther, there's another branch kind of about this far down from the superior mesenteric, which is the inferior mesenteric, which makes sense. It's inferior to the superior. And down here, there are two arteries that branch out perpendicular to the descending aorta, and these two are called the iliolumbar arteries. And they're very skinny. And just below that, it branches out like this. Well, not this big, it's smaller in diameter. And there's another branch, kind of like a smaller version of this. They are nearly identical in how they appear, except this one's bigger and this one's inside of that one. This will be the external iliac artery. This will be the interior iliac artery, and this will be the caudal artery, which leads to the tail. So that's pretty much it. That's the general layout. So if I were to draw this out, it goes like this, and there's some coming out down here, and then leads to the arm. So this first branch, we'll call this the left subscapular, and then the left axillary, and this will then be the left brachial, armpit, and subscapular. It goes through the page. And the if we were to look at the veins, they're very similar, except minor differences. So we'll draw the heart again, the aortic arch, and the little branches. And over here we have the vena cava. So these are the branches that correspond to these two, because the veins kind of sits on top of the arteries and covers a portion of it. So this will be the superior vena cava, and then it branches into two parts. And unlike the arterial system, which is kind of asymmetrical, this is more symmetrical. So it branches like this, and then it branches into essentially three parts, like this. Like this. And then it actually goes farther north, and then it crosses around the neck region. And we'll identify all of them in just a second. So this portion here, before the branching occurs from the superior vena cava, this will be the right brachiocephalic vein, and this will be the left brachiocephalic vein. And when it branches, this is the internal jugular vein, which is parallel to the external jugular vein. And this crossover is called the transverse jugular vein, which makes sense. External because it's external to the internal, and it's parallel to each other. So when this happens, this no longer is the brachiocephalic vein. It now is called the subclavian. So it becomes a subclavian vein. And over here there will be something similar to this. And this will be the left subscapular vein. And when that happens, this portion of it is now called the left axillary vein. And then it further travels laterally towards the arm, and it then becomes the left brachial. So another difference between the vein and the artery is that we'll just skip this whole section here and focus on this part of the vein. So it branches like this, and what's different is that unlike the arteries where this first two branches, they're the external iliac. Instead, for this part, it's called the common iliac, and then becomes the external iliac, and then as it leads towards the leg, so common iliac, external iliac, and then becomes the femoral vein. That's it.